Welcome back, everybody. This is lecture 3.7 for module 1 in RAD104, and we're going over some cross-sectional anatomy, and we are now worked our way down to the chest. So let's take a look at some anatomy. All right, here's a transaxial view of the chest, pretty high up. Okay, so you can see the level that we're at. You can see that we're just clipping the aorta, and so we should be able to see this swath, which we see here. That's your aortic arch. And we've got the right lung, left lung, and you can see it's got some pleural effusion. Don't worry about that. I'm not going to ask about that on the test, but I thought it was interesting. You could see the pleural effusion just sticking as this person's lying down in the CT machine. But you should know what the aortic arch is. You should know what that is. You should know that this is the trachea. Again, it's black, so it's filled with air. It's like a nice circle or an oval right behind the heart. And again, just make sure you know your lefts and your rights, and you should be good. So let's move on. We're going to go down just a little further. Let's see what we can see. All right, we're moving down another level, but I wanted to point something out. This is a great example of a different window level, or a different algorithm to show the lung tissue. So there is a lung window, I believe. And if you look at the lung tissue, you can see all the vasculature within it. Okay, there's contrast all within the vasculature of your lung field. Look at the previous image. You don't see any detail within that lung parenchyma. All right, that's because it's using a different algorithm. It's using a different window level. So just an example, I'm not sure which window level this is. You can see we've got some pretty good detail of the bone, although this detail of the bone is pretty good too. But this is certainly pulling out that lung tissue. So just an example of how your window level can really accentuate certain anatomy. Now, the reason why I pulled this image is because I want you to be aware of what the ascending and descending aorta is. So here you have your heart, and you've got the aorta, which is this big vessel that goes up. So up is ascending. You've got the arch, and then it turns the corner and goes down, descending. Your descending aorta is always next to your spine. So here is your thoracic vertebrae. Here is a nice perfect circle, and that is your descending aorta. In front of that, or right over the heart, again, nice perfect circle, that is your ascending aorta. Now, if we had scrolled back up, and we went back to this image, here is that arch. So as we scroll up and down, or actually if we scroll down, we would see a perfect circle, and that's exactly what we're doing right here. So that is the exciting part of this CT image. I did also want to point out that your trachea will bifurcate into a right and a left bronchi. And so here you can see the left, and here you see the right. Okay, so you should be aware of what that is. This vessel here, I'm probably not going to ask you about pulmonary artery at this point. Don't forget, your pulmonary artery is blood that's being pumped from your heart to your lung field because it needs oxygen. It's used up all of its oxygen. It needs to go back to the lung field to become oxygen rich. It goes back to the heart and then to the body. So when you see vessels like this, or you'll see a vessel kind of going in between the ascending and descending aorta, that's usually the pulmonary trunk or bifurcation of your left and right pulmonary artery. Okay? All right, I have this slide. It's just going down just a smidge more from our last slide. And so now you can start to see those main bronchi starting to bifurcate a little bit more. They're going out further. So you can see you've got your right main bronchus, your left main bronchus. Here's your ascending aorta, descending aorta, left lung, right lung. And then, as I mentioned, you've got this vessel kind of going in between, and that is your pulmonary. That's your pulmonary trunk. You've got your right pulmonary artery, which will go to the right side or the right lung. And you've got a left pulmonary artery here that'll go into the left lung. And so just to kind of, as we scroll down, this is what we would eventually see. So pretty cool. Now this is scrolling down even more. We've got a different window level on this image for some reason. So what this is showing you is that you can see that the ascending aorta is starting to kind of blend into the heart, so it's kind of we're getting to the very base of the aorta and it's not a perfect circle anymore. It's kind of becoming part of the heart. You can still see the descending aorta next to the thoracic vertebrae here. Right lung, left lung. You just need to know that this is the heart. You don't need to know about the different parts of it. And so let's move on. All right, we've made our way to the abdomen. So we've gone below the lung field, and now we are looking at parts of the abdomen, and obviously the big organ on the right side is going to be the liver. You can see how big it is. It is really big. Okay, so we've got a large section. This blackness here, that is air. So that is actually the costophrenic angle, the very bottom. You know, when you do a lateral view of a person's chest, you can see those costophrenic angles really work its way down in the posterior aspects of it, and that's what this is. So we've got vertebrae here. We still have a descending aorta here. We've got the stomach, which is filled with contrast. This is the spleen, and then the liver. So you don't need to know about the different lobes. You just need to know really that this is the liver, and I'll be good with that. So let's work our way down from here. So underneath here, we're going to start to see kidneys soon, right? Let's check it out. All right, so this is a little bit lower. So we still have the liver here. That's a good portion of the liver. Tucked underneath the liver is your gallbladder. And look how this is why CT is so great. You can see that contrast resolution. You can definitely tell the difference between liver tissue and the gallbladder. That's fantastic. You can see the kidneys, one here, one here. So this is the left kidney, this is the right kidney, this is your thoracic vertebrae. Again, you can see the level that we're at. Look how far back the kidneys are, right up against the back, right up against the posterior abdominal wall here. It's fantastic. Bile gas, you can see the black, how it's kind of risen up because the person's lying on their back. And that's pretty much all you need to know. This is the aorta. I gotta say, usually it's a little more defined than this. This looks kind of ugly, but it's usually a little bit more defined than that. It's usually, once again, kind of a perfect circle. So as far as other anatomy, don't worry about it. Yes, we've got the spleen here, but you should be able to pick out this stuff here in the kidneys without any problem. So I could have, done more slices of the abdomen, but it's just a bunch of bile gas. There are still more kidneys. Once you get good at it, you'll be able to pull out the ureters from the kidneys coming down, going into the bladder. But that's actually why I have this shot. What I wanted to show here is, so this is just above the bladder. The bladder is going to be a little bit lower. So really, you should know that this is your ilium. And this is your sacrum. You know the iliac crest, so that's here. And really where you see black is really just going to be bile gas. You have the sacrum back here, but you don't need to know much more than that. And for the last image here, we're really far down on the pelvis. Okay, so you should know that these funny looking things here, if we could scroll a little bit more, you would be able to see the greater and lesser trochanters of the femurs. So these are your femurs here, right here. Okay, greater trochanter is on the outside or on the lateral aspect. Lesser trochanter is on the medial aspect. We've got the pubic symphysis. Again, when we're palpating for an abdomen, that is what we're trying to get. Make sure that we get at that pubic symphysis. The bladder is going to be in this portion as well. And that's pretty much all I'm looking for at this point. So if you see something this low on a CT image, really the main concern or the main organ of interest is going to be the bladder. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about that, let me know. I know there's not a lot, but I think you get the gist. If I gave you an image of the abdomen, you'd be able to pull out most of that stuff, no problem. All right, guys, I'm going to stop here. That's it. As far as cross-sectional anatomy or getting a basic understanding of what you're looking at, that's all I really want you to know at this point. Again, some of you are never going to be working in CT, but even if you're working in diagnostic, sometimes looking at a CT image can help you with your diagnostic radiography. So it's always good to know what you're looking at and the different parts of anatomy within a CT image. If you have any questions about this, let me know. This is the end of Module 1. The test for this module is going to be Friday, February 12th. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm sure we can talk about any questions you have during class, and we'll go from there. So that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Let me know if you have questions. If not, I'll see you guys in class or at another video.